Hey, girl. Come on. Good girl.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. What a change in the weather. We showed you guys in one of our last videos that we were having basically a deep freeze where the weather was in the single digits pretty much around the clock it lasted about 4 or 5 days. Then right after that, we got a big ice storm where everything was completely covered in ice. I'm talking like our driveway and everything had almost 1/4 of an inch of ice, just slick ice on top of it.
Yeah, school canceled 3 days because of the ice. And now it is starting to warm up. It's actually very comfortable out
It's
this
51
morning.
degrees.
I wouldn't even need my mittens.
No, honestly, I put a stocking hat
Yeah.
on because we got so used to being
Yeah.
out in the cold but really I could be out here in my ball cap.
But what comes with warm weather after you've had a bunch of ice and after you've had freezing temperature
And when you have a lot of animals.
Yeah, is a lot of sloppy mud and a mess.
Right. Yeah, we often refer to this as mud season here in Missouri because this is kind of what happens is we'll go from cold to warm, from cold to warm, and the precipitation just piles up and it doesn't really go anywhere. It just stays and makes a big mess.
So today we thought, hey, you know what? Everybody needs to see what a mess this homestead, or really all homesteads, can be in this muddy season. So we decided we're going to bring you along for sloppy chores.
Right.
And because of all of the rain and everything, we've got some other chores that we need to do to help out the animals a little bit today.
So let's start with the chores here in Wattlesville. You can hear that the ducks and the geese are excited to come out. Yeah, they actually, out of all the animals on the homestead, they actually love this kind of weather because they love to play in the mud. You'll probably see how dirty they are just from playing in it already yesterday. So let's go feed the ducks first and move on with chores. Good morning, ducks. Hey, geese. Well, I guess they're excited to come out. They love the mud. I'm coming. You guys can tell just how muddy this is. Look at this. Look where I step. It's just like a big sponge on the ground. It's not pleasant, and I'm trying to tell myself that this is all mud, but let's be honest, this is a farm. This isn't all mud. You don't want to slip in it. Let's let the silkies out. Good morning, silkies. They do not like the puddles nearly as much as the ducks do. They fly over them, actually. All right, let's go check on the quail. I don't really think they need anything because I filled their water and their food yesterday, but I do want to open their hoop coop up a little bit, give them some ventilation today because it is going to be a much nicer day. Let them get some fresh air. They don't need to be all closed up today. Now the ducks and the silkies, they definitely don't need water today. Even if I filled a bowl for the ducks, they wouldn't drink out of it today. They'd only drink out of the puddles anyway. And the silkies, they have a full bowl. So makes my chores a little bit easier today. All right, let's go check on the quail. Good morning, quail. Let's go ahead and open this flap on their front door first so that they can get some ventilation in there. There we go. Let's just peek in. Looks like they have food and water, so they are okay for today. They are still loving those trees that I put in there for them. For the most part, they just hide when I go in, but that's much better than them flying around and injuring themselves. You can tell this wood is all wet. Things don't shut quite as easily. All right, let's go around and open the back of their cage too. There we go. Now they'll get some good ventilation today. It'll be good for them to finally get some fresh air. All right, that's everybody in Wattlesville. Let's grab some feed and head over to the American breast chickens.
Well, the breast chickens are waiting so patiently to come out. You ready, guys? Girls and one guy? Come on. Come on. During the ice storm, we fed and watered most of the birds right in their coops. It was just a nasty, nasty day. So now that the weather is nicer, we can bring all that stuff back out here. Well, no eggs today. That's kind of been the way it's been since this really cold front went through. Both the ducks and these chickens were starting to lay again before that really harsh cold set in. Now everybody has stopped. Hopefully now that it's warming up again, they'll both start laying again so we can have eggs over the winter.
Well, when we woke up this morning, all of our beef cows were standing at their fence line staring at the house, and that tells me one thing: the cows need a bale of hay today. It's so funny the way that they do that. They will just stand, they'll stare at the house and moo as if they're telling you, hey, we need a bale of hay today. Now I can tell you this, I went out there yesterday and they had like a quarter of a bale left. So they could be bluffing. Sometimes that happens. When it gets rained on, they don't feel like eating it anymore and they moo that they want a new bale. We'll see. We'll go look what they have left. Chances are they need a bale today though. So let's jump on the tractor and take them one. Well, we checked and they do need a bale of hay, so we're going to get that for them in a minute. But I wanted to just talk to you guys about kind of our process for feeding the cattle during the winter. It's kind of a two-person strategy that we've come up with, and it works really well for us. Because if I just come up here with the tractor and a bale of hay and try to put it into their hay feeder while they're all right there, it just gets too crazy because they're too excited for a new bale of hay. And cattle will injure you even if they're not trying, just because they're excited. So what we do is I jump on the tractor and get the bale of hay, and while I'm on the tractor, Sarah grabs a bucket full of what are called cattle cubes, which are just a big cube for cattle to eat. And she'll actually lead them down that way or wherever, away from where the bale of hay is, so that I have plenty of time to work on getting the bale of hay put in. And then when they're done eating this, they come and find the hay. So that's how we do it. It works really well, and you know, hasn't failed us yet. So our hay barn is here. You can see all of our hay stacked for the winter. And so we're going to feed these guys because they are definitely hungry.
Come on, cows. Come on, cows. Come on. Come on, cows. Come on, cows. Come on, cows. The young ones rush to get first dibs, and then the older ones come up from the back.
Well, now that morning chores are done, we can move on to doing more chores. These were kind of our normal chores that we have to do every day, but today we also have some extra chores to do. The first thing that we need to do today is we need to top off bedding in the coops for the birds, especially those out in Wattlesville, the ducks, geese, and the silkies. Because they've been spending so much extra time in their coops, not even coming out, especially the ducks and the geese, you can imagine not only does it not smell very good in there because it's wet duck and goose poop, but it's just a big mess because, you know, I don't know if you guys can tell this on videos or not, but here in the Ozarks we have very little flat land, so everything is at a hill. Now, we level out our camera when we're shooting things, so you maybe don't realize that as much, but things like the hoop coops and stuff, they always get wet inside, even if we have solid sides on them, because everything's on a hill. Now, we have learned over time that in this kind of weather where it's gotten so muddy like this, that we are better off to just put a new layer of bedding over the top of what's there. If we try to dig out the old bedding right now, because it's already like compact down onto the ground, we're basically digging almost like a pool inside of their coops. And it's just not a good situation. So in this situation, it's better off just to put a new layer of bedding on top. When we get to spring and things start to dry out, then we'll dig out the bedding that we used over the winter and put it all into the compost pile. But for right now, it's better off just to stay where it is.
So we're going to grab the UTV so we can load up a couple bales of the compressed wood shavings and head out to Wattlesville.
Now, for bedding in our hoop coops, we like to use these pine shavings. We use the kind of medium-sized flakes of pine shavings. That seems to work the best for us in our kind of wet and muddy conditions. And I think in the duck hoop coop today, I'm going to put 1.5 of these, and then we'll give a half of one to the silkies because their house is a little bit smaller, and the ducks and the geese make a bigger mess, and they spend a lot more time just on the ground in their hoop coops. Now, the quail and the breast chickens, their bedding is still pretty good, at least good enough for now. We're supposed to get another like 3 or 4 days of rain coming up in a few days. They might need new stuff after that. These guys might need new stuff again after that. We'll see. We don't go to extremes to spread it out. The animals take care of that. Chances are the silkies will come in here later today while the door is still open, and they'll scratch around and spread a lot of this out for the ducks. We're really just trying to give them a dry place to be at night. All right, that's all they need. Let's go give the other half of this bale to the silkies. You can see in the silky coop, it's a lot less messy than the ducks, and I changed it at the same time last time. That's because the silkies actually scratch around. The ducks, I think they're flat feet. Well, and the fact, let's face it, ducks and geese, they poop a lot, and it's big, so it just gets a lot messier in there. So just a good top layer in here will be good. Make sure we put some under their perches. That should be fine. They'll come in and scratch the rest around and spread it all out.
Well, speaking of wet, yucky messes, inside this lean-to, which is on the side of our milking barn here, inside of here is where we allow our dairy cow Babe and her calf Ralphie to come hang out when the weather is bad. Overnight, we separate them. Ralphie stays in here, Babe stays outside, so that in the morning we can get all of Babe's milk. Ralphie has the rest of the day to have all of her milk that she produces during the day. But all the straw that we keep in here to keep nice, clean bedding for them, when it rains, it gets wet even though it's covered. It rains in the side here, it kind of seeps underneath the foundation, but it's really, really important for us to keep this as dry and clean as possible for sanitary reasons. We try to keep the straw in here as clean as we can. Every morning I come in here and I scoop out any of the big manure patties, but when it's wet and rainy, the bedding gets soaked, which is what it is right now. So Kevin and I are gonna muck this all out, meaning we're gonna take out all of the wet straw, any of the remaining manure that might be in there, and replace it with clean, dry straw.
Now normally when we do this, especially when we're cleaning the whole thing out like this, I'd come in here with the tractor and the bucket of the tractor, and we'd load all this right into the bucket of the tractor. But it is so muddy that if I came in here with the tractor right now, we'd just tear this up so much more. Terrible. So we have our portable composter that we made a couple months ago over here. We're just gonna, shovel it or, rake it, whatever, pitchfork it, pitchfork it from here over to there, even though it's gonna be a little more work that way. It's our best bet without making an even bigger mess. Now when it comes to working with straw, I'll help Sarah carry it over here. I can help rake out the old stuff. But you guys, spreading straw around for bedding, big time no-no for me. I am so allergic to straw. I'm not really that allergic to hay, but straw, I don't know. I guess it's oat straw is what they mostly use around here. But I am so allergic to it when we're spreading it around. Once it's down and it's settled, it doesn't seem that bad, but spreading it, that's a Sarah job.
is finished, all nice, clean, dry bedding in there for them. That is a good job done. Now I bet if we open the gate, let them come in here, they'll come over and inspect it and go right in there. Come on, babe.
Come on, babe. Here she comes.
Come on, girl.
Come on, babe. Come on, Ralphie.
Come on. Come on.
Hey, Mama. Hey, Ralphie.
Come on, this way.
Come on, Ralphie.
What do you think, Mama? Is it better? Is it better? Yes, you're gonna love it. I know you're gonna go lay down in there as soon as we leave. How about you, Ralphie? What do you think? You like it too? What do you think, Ralphie? It's gonna be comfy bed tonight, huh?
Well, I think they're going to enjoy their new straw, and Ralphie will get a good night's sleep tonight, having a nice, clean bed.
You guys might be able to notice it's actually getting dark. We had to run into town and get straw because we were completely out.
Right, so we started this video with morning chores. It's now evening.
Right.
Because when we go to town to get things like straw, we also have other errands to do while we're there.
Well, guys, it's been a muddy mess today. The animals appreciate new bedding. They're gonna have a great night's sleep in a dry, comfy home.
I think it's important for those of you who may want to live this lifestyle today to see some videos like this once in a while, to see that not every day on a homestead is a glamorous day. In fact, there's far more non-glamorous days, if that's a word, than there are glamorous days. A lot of days are spent in mud and
not mud.
getting on your boots, but that's part of the life, and we absolutely love it.
You guys, we hope that you enjoyed spending the day with us, getting dirty, getting mucky,
right.
But making a better kind of living environment for our animals.
Right. If there's one thing that's true, at least on our homestead, is there's never a shortage of mud and there's never a shortage of poop.
You guys, if you are enjoying videos like this, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. And remember, the best way you can help us here on our homestead is just to share our videos on your social media. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.